all marriages end in divorce, and men face significant financial, emotional, and societal pressures. Tonight, we ask, why are so many men avoiding marriage? Why are so many men avoiding marriage? We'll start with you, Trev. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear fear of marriage? What's your personal experience of you?
Okay. Well, my personal experience is not to be taken as reality, right? Because the data shows differently. So even though I understand and value marriage, I do understand that it is a scary thing, particularly in today's society. And I know you mentioned the financial risk is crazy because that's your livelihood, that's your everything. And people say money isn't everything, but it damn near is because it's gonna determine, what kind of food you can eat, which will sustain your life longer. It's going to determine how safe your neighborhood is. It's going to determine how you retire, if you're going to be fine when you're older, if you have the resources to be able to take care of yourself during that retirement. And it's a scary thing to watch your assets go away and then you have to change your life as a human being. And the court systems is what scares the hell out of people. That's what makes men not want to get married so much. And I, for me, I feel like I was extremely fortunate to find the woman that I did. So I'm still within that marriage. And some of us on the panel also share that experience. But again, it's not everyone's reality. It's extremely difficult to find a woman who is marriageable at this point because humans in general are just now more self-centered. And one of the things you mentioned just now was people wanting to please their partner in every way. And not so many people are concerned about pleasing their partner. They're more worried about themselves.
Man, homie got a jug. Sorry,
So this is going to be interesting. But let me kick it off. Um, Full disclosure, I'm married. Been married 15 years. But I also counsel slash mentor men who are close to me in age and or younger than me. So I'm presenting this from a male perspective. There's enough places out there where you can get female perspectives on this.
mm-hmm.
Couple facts. Um, this is going to hurt me to say this, but it's true, and you can go and verify this on blackdemographics.com, or you can go to ncbi.com, which is another research-based website. But we know that marriage rates are declining, period, but they're declining even more so for Black folks. Um, in the least married segment of people are Asian men and Black women. So I don't want to get into the whys because it's going to, well, not, I don't want to get into the gender war stuff. We have to talk about whys. And again, we're talking from the male perspective. I'm married, I'm happily married, but I'm wise enough to know that men value respect more than anything else. And the last topic conversation we just had proves that we're not getting it to the point where we're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If we feel a certain way about something, it tends to be discounted or gaslit or completely dismissed, especially in politics. We're telling you there's concerns. I'm not going to go, I promise I'm not going to go back to politics for very long. But we're telling you there's concerns with the party, and your response is, so what? Do it anyway. No, no. That's number one. Number two, we see how society is going. This is probably the most selfish society has ever been. It's all about individualities. It's not. There's no team building. Um, it's me first. It's hot girl summer. It's I want to have my cake and eat it too. I believe there's a song out there. I forget who sings it. Girls as players too. Um, a lot of chicks out here calling each other bro. A lot of chicks that think it's okay to hit a guy.
Brittany Griner said, "Call her Papa" after
Call,
the baby thing.
and quite frankly, we have a mental health pandemic. Gen Z is the most medicated generation ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all of those kind of factor in. I'm a gender roles guy. And this is my criticism for the men. And when I say I'm a gender roles guy, that means that I am the head of my house. And I'm not just saying that because my wife's not around. Even if you were to ask her, she would agree. But we also understand that I want all the smoke that comes with that title. That means me being head of the house and me being leader of the house. If something goes wrong and she's doing what she's supposed to do, then it's not her fault. It's my fault. Everything falls on me.
Mhm.
And I'm perfectly fine with that. If the mortgages ain't paid and all of our expenses ain't taken care of, that's on me.
Yeah, you getting
Her
blamed
job,
anyways.
yeah, she ain't got, and she understands that. So that's how this works. I'm the provider, I'm the protector, I'm the problem solver. She runs the house. She makes sure my daughter is good, and she, makes sure everybody's good and well taken care of, and
Mhm.
that works. Now, I understand a lot of people don't want to go back to that. I don't really know what to tell you, but I'll take it back to respect. A lot of men don't feel like women respect them, and they're not going to want to build anything with you long term if that's how they feel. And I'll stop there for now and turn it over to UTR.
Yeah. Well, full disclosure, I'm not married, never been married. But there are some days where I'm like, man, maybe I can make this work. Maybe this is, what am I missing out on? And actually, funny thing, I have more friends that are married, close friends that are married than not married. And so I definitely see how you can make marriage work. And I'm talking about people that have been married for at least a decade plus, or really just a decade, and then 15, and then it goes to another decade. But the majority of people that are my close friends that I interact with, they've been in long-term relationships. Now I do know more people that are not married, and they're probably really cohabitating. But nowadays, when it comes to marriage, especially we get to like a certain age range, even when I'm on dating apps, they're not looking to be married again or married at all, with women. And they're more or less looking for a partner. They specifically say looking for a partner. And now we get into that conversation about the whole partner talk, and do men want to be married? Like, look, if you want to be married, it's not that difficult. There are more men that want to be married than there are men that don't want to be. Like, men definitely want to be married. It's also like a great accomplishment. You build family, or you can be a stepdad. And crazy enough, there are men that want to be stepdads out there, but they know what happens when you are a stepdad, and or you're at least you're in the position of being a stepdad, and it goes south. I mean, that the woman's going to take the kid, and you lose access, helping that kid out. You're in that kid's life, and you're no longer in that kid's life. And so when it comes to like the whole marriage conversation, in the previous video they were right, where um the laws are set up, and you alluded to this earlier in the last segment. The laws are set up to where they're not favorable for men. And you might be onto something if Kamala would come out and say, like, hey, we're going to strike down these types of marriage laws, and we're going to make custody at 50% automatic off the bat. Like,
Should be.
you will see, you can got a chance to get the men back on board. But as we see what the party's doing real quick, is that it's moving more to a matriarchy control, and then men are expected to be go along with it. And if you don't go along with it, then you're automatically criticized. You're called a misogynist. And I see that on dating apps too, because you say anything remotely, like, for the folks that are on dating apps, or maybe folks that have not been on dating apps, actually, really for the folks that haven't been on dating apps, they have multiple ways of flagging your account now, because they're like, when you go to remove someone and they'll ask you a question like, hey, do you want to remove this person because you're not interested, which is mainly the case. But then they have all these other questions. And I was like, wait, what other questions would there be? You're just not interested anymore. Nope. Did you feel threatened? Did this person say something on their profile? And don't put you're a conservative or you put Trump on your dating profile. You'll get that flagged every single time. So, enjoy that, because now it's at a point where things are pretty politicized. And from what I've seen is that some of the women out there, the liberal women out there, they want to date conservative men, but they won't date them because, they like Trump. They're conservative, all because of a whole bunch of other stuff. And so that's also driving politics, is driving a wedge. I mean,
Not to cut you off, but I gotta tell you, one of my frat brothers, he's 24, I think. He said on the dating apps, he comes across profiles where the women will say, if you listen to Kevin Samuels, don't even bother talking to
yeah.
them. I just wanted to add that in there too.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And now it's been thrown as a red flag. And it's like, are you on here to date or anything, or not? And this is the other thing too, like for the women out there, honestly, I would think, if you, and we're just going to talk about like the women that don't have a father for the kid's father's not in their life, or whatever happened to them. You would think when it comes to raising a boy into a man, and I know people like to think that, a woman can do it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could drive a car with my feet, shout out to Chris Rock on that, but you don't do it. And this is the thing, is that when it comes to like a lot of men, or men or women that, when you get back on a dating market, you want to find someone that's going to gel with your kid, that's going to be a part of your life and be in your kid's life, not just walk out like that kid's father did, or if that kid's father passed away or whatever it was. But at least that kid, that person is in your father's life, and it takes a lot to really love someone else's kid that's not your kid. But from what I've seen and from my experience, they don't care about any of that stuff, because that's not like something like, hey, you're here for me, you're not here for my kid. But when we go out, I'm paying for your kid. When we go out, we do stuff with your kid. Your kid expects to, or I mean, not saying your kid expects, but it's expected I have a birthday gift. It's expected I have Christmas presents for your kid. It's expected for a lot of things. When I'm just going to like ignore your kid, like, no, I'm not going to do stuff like that. And I think, like I said, I think most men wouldn't mind being a stepdad, but at the end of the day, they know what happens if it goes south. And right now, the laws are, if you do become a stepdad, you get a divorce, she could put child support on you. It's possible to put child support on the father if the child support's not with a different father, but it's definitely out there. So if they would get rid of the child support is a whole nother thing too, because if you miss payments or you're not up on that, you're gonna get roasted on that. So for a lot of men, they don't want to have kids, because they know what happens, like when things, if you don't follow the or if you don't stay with that woman, she has the weaponization of the state to send after you. So people can they can try to have this conversation or be delicate about it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the woman, the wife, the mother has the state backing her in pretty much multiple situations. Sometimes they will back the father, but the mother has to be a really POS. And I don't mean like just went to rehab. I mean they have to be like, tier 10 POS for the state to be like, okay, you're an unfit mother. And so that's a conversation that people don't want to have, and they refuse to have. And so politically, going back to Kamala, that is something that she can do, but she knows she'll alienate her whole base, which is sad though, because she's said multiple times she's here for all Americans. Well, this is something that would help America, help Americans out. And also, we get back to marriages, because when I want to say the rise, there's a conversation there about how when marriages started to decline, but then in the day, we're seeing less and less marriages. And so if you want to get America back on track, you got to go back to the marriage.
Real quick with the stepdad thing. So my position on that, look, if you step in and you do that, salute to you. That's a hell of a job. It's probably thankless at times. Salute to you for doing that. But also, if you are a man and you're wise enough to know that that's not the role for you, I'm not going to knock you for that either. At the end of the day, it's a personal decision that you have to make. Me personally, I don't want any other man raising my daughter. It's all going to come from me. You're going to be right here in this house with me. We're going to build this family out, and we're going to keep it moving.
That's the other issue too, is the other man, if the father is around.
Yeah. I'll say this too. I realize that right now marriage is not a fair deal for most men because we're talking about it's a coin flip at this point.
Hmm.
50-50 chance is going to end in divorce. We know that overwhelmingly they side with the woman. And I'm not just talking about the courtrooms, I'm talking about society in general. I mean, we're in the point now where they're having divorce parties for people.
Yes.
I'm not going to one, but I think celebrating the end of somebody's marriage is weird. But you have all these men who not only are you fighting with your ex, but now she didn't combine powers with the government to form Captain Planet, and now you got to fight the whole system.
Yeah.
I know too many guys that's going through that, but I do want to say this: I'm married. I'm happily married, and there are benefits to marriage. Um, Married people tend to build wealth faster. You know, you got the standard when you get the tax breaks for that up to a certain income amount. They tend to live longer. There's implied contingencies for life insurance. You probably should have a will anyway, but if you don't,
Hmm.
there are implied contingencies with your spouse if something happens to you, you know, especially with power of attorney and managing the finances and et cetera. And it's less of a sexual risk. I mean, if you out here playing the field, I mean, there's stuff out there you can get that can't be cured. And every time, and I do believe in soul ties. I think that everyone that you have a sexual experience with, you can't fully cleanse yourself of them. They're always going to be a part of you. That's just something I personally believe. I know that's not a popular theory, but there are benefits too, but the way the world is built right now, it's nobody seems to care about it. It only benefits women, especially when we know that the majority of them are the ones that file for divorce.
Hmm.
And it's a cold game right now. So if you
Oh, yeah.
are a man and you want to do it, you know, just make sure you asking the proper questions, man, and stop being so infatuated with looks.
Hmm.
Just look at character a little bit closer. That stuff matters.
Yeah. I'll say one of the best conversations I've heard about this marriage conversation came from the lead attorney. And he told, and I know most men will be like, no, I would never do this. But he's on the mindset and lead attorney, phenomenal content creator. And he's also, he's been attorney for, he says this all the time. I should know it by heart, at least 15 years. But he went through his own marriage, divorce as well, too. But he said most men, what they should do is just talk to a divorce attorney just so they can understand what you have to lose if this goes, sideways, if she's not happy. And for a lot of men, they're always going to be the last to know that they're getting a divorce. Like
Yeah.
as soon as they find out that divorce is, on the table, or she said, "Hey, here's the paperwork." They're like, "What? You're just blindsided." But she's already told a bunch of people. She's told her mama. She probably told the dog. She told the kids. She told everybody. I mean, she got her new dude lined up. He knows about it before you know about it. So yeah, people got to realize, or men have to realize, men have to start waking up, which, men are starting to wake up though, but they still need to wake up a little bit faster though, because right now things are just tilted. Like if you get out of pocket or you say anything any borderline misogynistic, they're going to flag your account. You're going to get kicked off like dating platforms. And you say anything misogynistic on social media and anything like, I mean, we're going to have to clean this up in the editing, but you say anything related to stuff like that, they're going to feel some type of way. So until
Yeah.
things become a little more balanced, I see marriages really declining. It's going to be, set for a very small, group of people. And, there's going to be the people getting ahead, not people that are just, regular people. And, when it comes to marriages in the Black community, the numbers are bad for Black women. And I know a lot of Black women want to get married. The fact of the matter is, there are not enough Black men that want to get married, unfortunately. So there's going to be a lot of people just left behind. So you're either going to have to find somebody else's husband, or you have to be okay being a sister wife, or side chick. I don't know what it's going to be, but I mean, until we can get to a point where men want to get married again, especially it hurts the Black community the most. So until we
Yeah.
get to that point, I don't see this number changing. I see it just growing over time.
I will end with this. a lot of people focus too much on the ceremony and not the work that comes after, right?
Mhm.
And this is kind of the problem with a lot of people in monogamous relationships, which is one of the tenets of marriage being monogamous, are lazy. And lazy monogamy is it's like you let yourself go. And honestly, I just lost 30 pounds within the last year and a half. So I've been guilty of it too
Heck
at
of
a
a
point.
accomplishment.
But a lot of people in monogamous relationships get lazy. They stop dating each other. They stop having fun together. They stop having these deep conversations. You get fat and lazy, and you don't want to you don't want to be, you're not even trying to be physically attractive. You don't want to do the stuff you did to win him or her. Like a lot of people in these monogamous relationships are lazy as hell. And don't even get me started on the amount of married men that I talk to who can't even get no cheeks from their wife, man. Like it's bad out here, man. Like this is all the stuff you kind of got to look at if you want to sustain a long-term relationship with anybody. It's good luck.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate, but some people have to find out the hard way and continue finding out like, hey, you know, this I wish someone had told me. There's plenty of videos, other content creators talking about this, so we're surely not the first ones and we won't be the last ones talking about this. But for the folks out there, and especially the pro blacks, that's the one thing I've you know, and I can close with this too. With a lot of pro blacks, they ain't never married to a black woman, or they have a black woman. You know, Dr. Umar, he ain't married to a black woman. I want to say I think he might have 2 kids with 2 different women or something, but he's not married to a black woman. And Dr. Umar, every now and then he has some good points on some topics. I'll give him that much credit. But outside of that, when it comes to like the black community conversations, like a lot of folks, unless you're married, we got to start asking people like, are you married? Are you married to a black woman? If you care about the community and growing the community, then you should be asking those questions of the people that are talking about these relationships. And if they're not talking about why you should get married, and Anton Daniel gets a lot of flack for this. Anton's married to a black woman, black kid, and he gets the most smoke about his marriage. It is ridiculous, and it's a bunch of shiftless, POS, black men going after Anton Daniels, and like you probably got like 4 or 5 kids. You know, your baby mamas hate you. Your kids probably hate you. Like, let's have that conversation about going after people, not listening to the men in the communities that are married and with, again, if you're on the pro-black side, black woman and black kid, then you should be listening to them. But we're not elevating. That's the problem. We're not even elevating those voices. Those voices are, I mean, pretty much mute. So it's, you know, for you are doing a great job by trying to mentor them in and, you know, try to give them the game, and hopefully they can listen and, you know, learn from it and avoid some of the pitfalls. But for some other men, they got to hit the pitfall and they're going to turn a part of the conversation.
Absolutely. One more thing before we bounce. If you are thinking about getting married, or if you are in a long-term relationship and you want to take it to the next level, I really suggest you familiarize yourself. She's a psychotherapist. Her name is Esther Perel, and she studies monogamy extensively, particularly how to keep the fire lit within long-term monogamous relationships. She has a lot of TED Talks and different conversations on things that you can do to sustain a long-term relationship, because it seems like that's a lost art.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for episode 4. Hope you enjoy it. Like and subscribe. MC, you got any parting words?
Now, everybody just keep being great. Be
Great.
better than you were yesterday.
All right. Adios.
Peace.